What's up, witches? It's Witch Angel Nakora, and welcome back to Lonely Souls. In our last episode, we actually started what I like to call the Senpai route. Because there's the Senpai route, there's the Shin route, and then there's, I guess, a neutral route? And we started getting all lovey-dovey on Senpai. So, we're going to continue from where we left off. Finally, the classes for today were about to end. I was most likely going to go to my club now, though I was really tired. Maybe I should go home today. I would have more time to study and relax. Well, we avoided being in the occult room already, so let's go hang out with the others. Immediately after exiting my classroom, I was approached by Taro. Hey, what up, Senpai? So, do you have anything to do right now, or can we walk home together? I would love to, but you see, I looked down at my feet. I couldn't go with him. I've already missed 2 club meetings today. But it hurt having to tell him no. I have a club meeting right now and I have to be there. I'm sorry. He looked slightly disappointed, but he understood there was nothing he could do. I'll see you tomorrow then, Oka. I waved at him as he walked away, leaving me all alone again. Suddenly, I felt so scared without him. My responsibilities were haunting me again, but I had to take care of that meeting. When I turned around to head to the nearest staircase, I saw Shin walking downstairs. Hesitating only for a moment, I decided to approach him. If we had to have an unpleasant talk about me ditching the club meeting at lunchtime, I'd prefer to have it face to face, than rather in front of our club mates. I know the feeling there. As I approached Shin, he quickly turned around to face me. He must have heard my footsteps. Was he really that paranoid? I suddenly lost my balance on the stairs and tripped, mostly due to being awfully tired all day. Why did I have to be so clumsy, right now, in front of Shin? I would have surely fallen down the stairs if it wasn't for him, though. As I was starting to fall, he caught both my wrists in his hands, quickly, almost as if it was instinctive for him. I was relieved he caught me. Being this close to him made me uncomfortable. Despite our differences in height, it might have been the first time I could look straight into his eyes. And his ice-cold eyes seemed a little less harsh, and a little softer than they'd always been. We were so close I could hear his quick, uneven breaths when he looked at me. I didn't want this. We barely knew each other, and my new relationship with Taro made it even worse for me. Yes, Taro was the main reason I felt so uneasy. My conflicted feelings towards Shin weren't helping. I tried to figure out what was going through his head right now, but gave up, seeing that his expression was unreadable. Something about the way he was looking at me made me shiver slightly. I stepped away from him and he let go of me immediately. Are you all right? His voice was lowered to almost a whisper, to make sure no one else could hear him. I am. I hesitated for a moment before adding, thank you. It felt appropriate in the situation we were in. However, what I didn't expect was the faintest of smiles that appeared on his face for a mere second. It might have been the second time I ever saw him smile. No, I had to stop this.
We should be heading to the club now.
Right. I totally forgot about the meeting. We walked in silence for a bit until he spoke up again.
You wouldn't want to miss it again, would you?
I froze, staring at him in terror. Of course he noticed my absence. Was he angry with me for ditching the club today? A part of me wanted to just leave it all behind me and run away. But would that really be smart?
Let's go to the club meeting. Screw it.
I wouldn't give up so easily. I was going to fulfill my responsibilities, however painful they may be. Despite my brief act of courage, I continued to avoid eye contact with him as we walked downstairs next to each other. I pushed the occult club's door open and we both came in. So far, the room was empty except for us. It was also darker than usual. The candles in the middle were not lit for safety purposes. I took out a box of matches I always carried in my bag and started to light all 10 of them around the circle. When the room was ready for the next meeting and ritual, I sank into one of the chairs, exhausted. I couldn't really focus on the book I was reading. My mind kept coming back to that moment on the stairs and what it could have meant. When Shin caught me, he looked at me with genuine concern, like he actually cared, and he barely showed any emotion whatsoever. I had no idea how he felt about the entire situation, and I wasn't sure even I wanted to know. However, it didn't matter now. I had Taro to rely on. He was so easy to get along with and listen to me talk about myself, while Shin was a complete mystery for me. The weirdest thing about him was the way his attitude kept changing, making him not only very unpredictable, but also extremely difficult to get along with.
Yeah, I've had a boyfriend like that in my past, and I've also had friends like that in the past, but, well, sometimes even I'm a little difficult to get along with in real life, but I'll eventually, open up and let you know about me, so it just takes time.
I never knew what he was going to say, or how he was going to act. Sometimes I would look at him and only see his cold, emotionless eyes. I always assumed that was his true nature, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe, just maybe today, I saw what he was really like. I'll never forget the way he looked at me just before we separated on the stairs. I sighed as Kakomajutsu entered the room and took a seat across from me. With my mind a storm of conflicted feelings, my life got a lot more complicated throughout this one day.
Okay, chapter 4. This is getting good, guys. This is actually getting really good. Oh boy. Yeah, you can tell I'm going to go through the Senpai route first and then through the Shin route.
Tuesday morning. It was Tuesday, and I was thrilled, to say the least, to see Taro again. I really didn't want to scare him off, though. But somehow I wouldn't. How? I just did. I had those feelings since I was a child. Like I knew what was going to happen to me.
Empath. Yep, I'm one too. So yeah, I know what's going to happen to me sometimes as well. It's not really being empathetic, it's being more like, you have that precognitive spark that, yeah, something good's gonna happen. Just like a big little burst of happiness right there. But, yeah, I'm also an empath, meaning I can feel emotions a lot stronger than normal people.
After seeing so much of my short life so far, next to nothing could surprise me. But Taro, he was different, unpredictable. I was completely helpless with him. Everything was so new to me. I felt like a light petal, thrown in different directions by fate itself. Like a pink petal of the cherry tree behind the school. I smiled at the thought of him. I was hoping we could spend more time today. Despite my uneasiness, I came to school full of optimism. It was a new day and everything could happen. I was in my classroom, listening to Kanan-sensei's lecture, when I felt my phone vibrate inside my bag. Someone must have just texted me. It's from Taro. Hey, can we meet on lunchtime like yesterday? My heart skipped a beat when I saw his text. He wanted to spend time with me? How should I respond?
Since we're doing the Senpai route, we're going to go with this.
The classes for today were about to end, and I couldn't help but wonder what would soon happen between me and Taro. We already spent lunchtime together, and it was amazing. Just talking to him like we'd been friends since forever. Even though I only spoke to him for the first time yesterday, he told me so much about himself.
Wow. Hello, open book, Yamada. Get it? Like, I can read you like an open book?
We met at the plaza and were together during the whole lunchtime. I learned a lot about him. It felt like I was starting to understand him better and better. Taro talked a lot about Osana Najimi, his best friend since childhood, who was expelled a few weeks ago. He told me that, despite all the things that got her expelled, even if some of them were really serious, he still missed her. He really cared about her, even after she was being so mean to him all the time at school. I could never hope to understand the kindness he had for other people. And there was Kazana Shinobu, gone without a trace. I felt so sorry for everything he had been through. I wanted to help him in any way I could. And still I felt a bit guilty about leaving my club. And there was something about Taro that fascinated me. What was it? Finally the class ended, and I was free to go wherever I wanted. Taro and I met at the plaza to hang out after school. When we arrived and sat on the edge of the fountain just like yesterday, I got lost in our conversation. I realized I kept staring at him when he wasn't looking. Was I being creepy? I couldn't stop myself. I was so focused on the way he occasionally raised his hand and moved his hair away from his eyes in the light breeze. I couldn't really hear what he was talking about for a moment. But suddenly, he turned to look at me directly.
You know, I wasn't exactly honest with you about Osana.
Your friend? You said she was expelled, right?
She was, but I still miss her. I just don't have the courage to say it to her. It's because Osana was special. I always cared about her more than other people. Do you understand?
I do. Do you still feel that way about her?
He merely shook his head in response. I don't know. I'm not sure anymore. This was as close as I've ever been to loving someone. There was a strange feeling in me when I heard him say the word love. I wanted to ask you, have you ever felt this way about anyone?
Why would he want to know something like this? Love. Have I ever loved? I felt someone's arms wrapped around me protectively. It made me feel so safe and warm. It was everything I've ever desired. I heard someone's voice whispering to me, so quietly that it could have been my mind playing tricks on me. It's okay. I'm here. I love you, Oka. What just happened? Was this a vision of the future? And more importantly, who was that? I couldn't just tell him, but I was almost sure it was him. Who else could it have been? I felt it. For a new friend who showed up one day and changed my life. I couldn't be happier without them. I saw him smile at me. Do you know I was talking about him? Even if he did, he wasn't showing it.
Well, I hope you get to know them better.
I'm looking forward to it. Soon afterwards, we got outside, as it was getting quite late, and we went home together. Could he know I liked him? Maybe he was only trying to see my reaction, to see how I really felt about him. I was so scared to admit my feelings for him. But maybe his question was actually a confession in disguise? Oh no, what was he thinking about me right now? I didn't want him to think I didn't like him. Like that. It's because I was too shy to tell him. I tried to calm down, telling myself that I still had time to decide on the nature of my feelings. Nobody expected me to confess to him after 2 days, right? Everything was going to be okay. Or so I hoped.
Oh boy. Chapter 6. Where's that 5? I'm not good at Roman numerals, okay?
Darkness. Everywhere around me, I couldn't see a thing. Hesitant first, I took a step forward and felt steady ground under my feet. I was in my school. I just knew it. But the realization came sort of a dim light. I was in the hallway of the first floor. Slowly, I turned my head to the right, knowing perfectly well what I would see. I was looking at the door to the occult club. There was something evil there, something dangerous. I had to run. I didn't know why, but I had to. Panic overtaking me, I turned around and ran as fast as I could. I was out of breath, but I kept running. The only thing I wanted was to get away from this place. I sensed a presence behind me, a source of the darkness and the distortion. It was chasing me. Worst of all, it was getting closer. I couldn't move anymore. There was a cold hand on my shoulder, unnaturally strong. I felt myself being pulled back to where I was running away from. It was inevitable. There was nothing I could have done to escape. Closer and closer to the club room, I started to scream. I screamed so loud I couldn't feel my throat anymore. There was nobody who could hear me or help me in any way. Resisting was pointless. I gave up and let the demonic hand drag me further down the hall. Closing my eyes, I waited for the end to come. Soon, I felt my limp body fall to the floor in a puddle of warm, fresh blood. My own blood. How could you have left me? My eyes snapped open as I sat up in my bed. The nightmare was over. It was just a dream. I'm safe now. My eyes haven't yet adjusted to my dark bedroom. I needed a moment to steady myself. I've never had a nightmare that felt so real. Thinking back to it now, it still sends shivers down my spine. It's 3:15 a.m. I could still fall asleep before school. But how was I going to sleep after this? I couldn't move an inch, and laying back down was completely out of question in my current state. This nightmare left me completely shaken. Was it really just a dream? It was so horrifying, almost too scary to believe. Whatever this dream was, it was only that, a dream. It's normal to have nightmares, isn't it? I shouldn't get too paranoid now. Whatever this dream meant, I knew one thing for sure. My club was no longer safe for me. Maybe I just didn't want to admit it before. This nightmare made me realize something. It was clear now. I didn't want to have to come back to my club every day anymore. And I felt like I was being forced to go there. Yes, that was the most likely explanation. Thinking about it, I realized it really was true. That meant, was it time to leave my club at last? I had to try my best to sleep, to keep myself from thinking about it any further. Opening my eyes slowly, I saw my room in the morning. I must have fallen asleep then. I got up and began to dress quickly, not wanting to be late to school. While getting dressed, I felt a stab of pain on my left shoulder. What? Maybe I shouldn't move so fast. I just got up. I was still half asleep.
Youch. Quick sidebar here. I've actually done that before. Like, while training for school, I did have a few incidents where I almost fallen down the stairs, almost hit my head on the fridge trying to get something to eat, almost bopped myself in the head with my backpack. This is why I'm never a morning person. No matter what you try, I'm never, ever going to be a morning person. Not all the coffee in the world would make me a morning person.
When I arrived at school, it was already quite late. The classes were soon to begin, so I didn't have the time to do anything before then. I was still exhausted after tonight, but I managed to make it all the way upstairs to the third floor before my teacher. I couldn't focus in class at all. Whenever I closed my eyes, I saw the corridor on the first floor, and the hand grabbing my shoulder. This dream could only mean one thing. It wasn't right for me to go to my club anymore. I didn't feel like I wanted to previously, but now that I saw how I truly felt through a dream, I knew it. Taro could help me now. He could stop the nightmares. When the bell rang, I left my classroom, feeling just a bit more confident now. Upon exiting my classroom, I walked up to Taro.
Oka? Is something wrong?
And how was I supposed to tell him that? I needed someone to be with right now, and I had to stay away from my club for now. Let's go someplace quiet. I want to talk.
He merely smiled at me, gesturing me to follow him. I know a good spot for that. Senpai with those moves.
I wondered where Taro would lead me. When we left the school building, I stopped him. I think that will do. We were standing at the back of the school.
So what did you want to talk about?
This dream, it was haunting. I trusted him. I needed him. and I had to tell him how I really felt. My club, it felt like a chain now. I had to tell this to him, start from the beginning. I, when I founded the occult club, I was really happy. I felt like finally I could belong somewhere, be with the people that could understand me. I paused to see his reaction. He was silent, so I went on. But now, when I met you on Monday, I realized that's not what I really want. And that doesn't bring me any joy to be in my club anymore. It's just a responsibility now, and I sobbed. I didn't even care to hide my feelings from him. He deserved to know how I truly felt. And I didn't care if I looked weak. I could only with him. A single tear fell down my cheek. Previously, I could just go to the occult club if I felt bad because of the bullies and everything. But now, I remembered the way Shin looked at me on Monday. They all thought so low of me. Just because I've missed a few meetings. Now I'm not even wanted there. I don't know what do they want from me. I don't know what to do with my life. I don't know how to live at all anymore. I was silent for a moment, trying to calm down. I failed. Everyone I trusted left me. Now I'm all alone. I looked at him. I was so scared that he would laugh at me, that he would abandon me too. Please, don't leave me like they have. I gave up. I was crying now. My knees weakened suddenly, and I was ready to fall down and cry, laying on the ground until I had no tears left to cry. I felt Taro wrap his arms around my waist before I could fall. He helped me up when I was at my weakest, and kept holding me close to him as I couldn't stop crying. His touch was unlike anything I've ever felt before. It was warm and comforting, yet it sent shivers down my spine. I forgot about my nightmare, my problems. All I could think about was the quiet thrill of being held by him. I felt him come ever closer to me and whisper, "It's okay. I'm here." I had never heard him talk to me like this before. He wasn't mocking me. He didn't abandon me. He was right where I needed him the most, and genuinely wanted to help me. I couldn't believe his goodness. Hesitantly, I stepped ever closer to him, laying my hands on his shoulders and resting my head on his chest. I could stay like this forever. I stopped crying. Everything was so peaceful and quiet. I didn't realize how much time had passed in silence between us, until I heard the bell ring, meaning the end of lunchtime.
Feels alert! Y'all have no idea how hard it was for me to not cry during that part. Honestly, because that there it was like a big old truck full of feels hit me right in the heart. Y'all, this story is like it's kind of breaking me a little bit, but I'm gonna keep going because this is a really awesome story. Sometime before the bell would ring, the teacher would suddenly stop talking and looked at us. In this school, students were always responsible for cleaning up the school grounds after classes end. Groans of annoyance could be heard throughout the classroom. You know that class 2-2 was responsible for this for so long, so I don't want to hear any complaints. You're not allowed to leave the school until everything is as it should be. Understood? Even though nobody was happy about spending time at school after classes, the students at the school knew better than to argue. Despite the work ahead, one thing kept me optimistic. Right now is the perfect excuse for avoiding my club. Nobody could blame me for not coming if my whole class stayed at school late to clean. I only had to avoid that hallway on the first floor. Maybe I could take care of the rooftop or something like that. Turning my head towards Taro, I smiled. The prospect of spending the rest of the day working together didn't seem that bad. Later, it was about 3:50 p.m. when I was carrying an empty trash can back to the cafeteria. I was already done with cleaning the third floor, and Ikanen-sensei said I could go home once I put the trash can back. Despite the slight feeling of wasting my time, I was happy I could get my mind off this dream. Having to focus on work made me forget it just a bit. I was almost on the second floor, and I just had to... Oh, shiitake mushrooms. I felt someone push me from behind. I tripped on the stairs and fell down. What was happening? Everything was silent for a while and I couldn't see anything. I heard footsteps. Painfully slow footsteps from right behind me. Don't touch her. Basu. She was a few meters behind me. And that means the person standing above me was Basu. The Basu sisters. Why? Sakyu's deep feminine voice was as calm as ever. She was always one in charge of her younger sister. All the boys liked her and me right now. She did anything she wanted to because everybody was either too intimidated by her dominant attitude or too shy because of her extraordinary beauty. Inky wasn't mean or evil, but never opposed her sister. She's creepy. Sakyu giggled playfully. The sound itself gave me chills. Well, I couldn't resist. I was never this scared in my whole life. What were they planning? Closing my eyes, I waited for the worst to come. A few torturous seconds passed as I heard another voice. The voice I really needed to hear right now. The voice of comfort and safety. Taro's voice. Hey! Leave her alone! I opened my eyes and raised my head just a little bit so I could see what was happening. Taro was standing a few meters away from me and the Batsu sisters. I heard Inkyu step back and away from me, while Sakyu was still standing above me, as proud as ever. Sakyu, there's no point. Seriously? She wasn't nervous at all. She was used to people obeying her every word. Since when are you on her side? In a moment of silence, Taro glanced at me before looking back to Sakyu. Since I know she's a lot better than you. It was all he said. Those few words meant so much. Taro was the first person to ever side with me and protect me from the bullies. It was so brave of him to insult her like that. I only hoped he wouldn't get in trouble for it. Fine. Sakyu only scoffed dramatically, turned around and left alone with her sister. What? That was it? It was all it took to get rid of Sakyu? Why didn't I think about this before?
Taro helped me up and looked at me closely.
Are you alright?
I nodded. Thank you. By the way, how did you know I was here?
I didn't. I was just looking for you so we could walk home together.
He smiled at me so genuinely I could tell it was the truth. Well, I'm glad you found me either way. For a moment, you seemed to be lost in thought, looking somewhere behind me.
Me too. Maybe we're up to something.
What? He started to walk away, so I followed him instinctively.
Let's get out of here. Oh, I love that. Stand up for the girl he's fallen in love with. Slowly but surely.
After I finished my duties, we left the school and I couldn't help but feel happy. I was so glad to have Taro with me. Nothing bad happened to me today, and the whole day turned out alright, despite the incident with the Basu sisters. I didn't see any of my clubmates today. Maybe it was better. After I closed the door to my house behind him, I felt so lonely. I was exhausted. I was hoping tomorrow wouldn't be as tiring.
Okay, y'all. We're gonna hit another save point right here. This was like, it hit me with a feels train, 100%. And from the next episode, we're gonna take off from here because it's just getting to one big feels train after another. And what's crazy is I love the Basu sisters in the game, but they can be a little weird. But I love Oka more. I mean, to be honest, I'm kind of like her. I'm into the occult. People used to call me creepy, but now they just see me as different, unique, awesome. But I have to tell you guys this: if you know anyone who's getting bullied, or if they feel depressed, alone, just you know, being hurt emotionally, physically, anything like that, be there for them. Seek help for them. Get them to talk about it. Because if you keep all your feelings bottled up inside, it only leads to much worse things, like trying to take your own life. Take it from me. I'm not getting therapy for my issues, but when I was younger, I used to be bullied a lot. I was bullied about my hair, my weight, my appearance, everything. Even my own sexuality. And many a time, I just kept it bottled up. So, after I started going to therapy and talking about it with others, those feelings went away. I mean, I still have them on occasion, but not as frequent as they used to be. I feel happier. And that's one reason why I watch people like Razbowski, 8-Bit Ryan, Dawko, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye. They calm me down whenever I'm feeling sad. They, they give me a reason to live, because the world's not always such a dark and scary place. There are some, you know, lightings to your dark clouds above your heads. There's always a silver lining, and that silver lining is someone you can love, talk to, and trust. So yeah, if you have a friend right now who's suffering through bullying, speak up. Talk to them. Help them seek out a professional who can help them with their, with their issues. Because the life that you save could be theirs, or even your own. Well, I'm gonna stop it right here, guys. In the next episode, we're gonna find out what happens in the next chapter. We might even see a good ending with Taro. Get a big old slice of that senpai and just finally have a happy ending. And then we're going to start the Shin Higaku route. So, until then, I'm going to get on out of here. If you like this video, why don't you hit that like button faster than you cast a spell to the face. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and be part of the coven. I usually record from Monday through Friday, unless I'm not here. I'll see you all soon. Mwah! Stay magical, my friends. And, hug something once in a while. A good hug always cheers you up.